Cool. All right, let's do this. All right, I am so excited you are here. I am honored that you are here. I know that your time is your most precious asset, and so I thank you for joining us tonight. And I promise that I will do my very best to honor your time and give you real, helpful, impactful, not just information, but hopefully you can take this information and create transformation in your life and in your marriage. So I see a lot of you joining in here from Idaho. We've got Alabama, we've got Illinois, we've got Australia, we've got California, all over. So thank you. I really honor you for joining me here tonight. And I want to make this really interactive. I don't want this just to be a monologue. I get bored of my own voice, so I'd like to hear from you guys and make this really impactful, and go ahead and post questions that you have. I will do a Q&A here at the end, so I won't be able to answer your questions probably so much during the masterclass, but I will definitely have a chance to answer them at the end. Awesome. We've got Idaho, Pennsylvania, another Australia. Sweet. That's awesome. So we're here to interact. We're here to have fun, because if it's not fun, why do it? But most importantly, seriously, here to help you with your marriage. And that is what we specialize here in High Thrive Coaching. So that sound good? Sound awesome? Sweet. All right, let's jump right in. So I decided to title this, I actually went through 3 different titles: How to Save Your Marriage Without Getting Your Heart Hurt. And the reason why I felt that is because after working with so many clients and going through my own marriage struggles, I feel like I understand this. I want to have a good relationship with my husband or my spouse. I want to stop the divorce. I want to end the affair. I want to improve our communication or our connection, whatever the circumstance might be for you. But if you're at this point where your relationship is struggling, your heart's been hurt and your spouse's heart has been hurt. And that creates barriers, right? That we don't want to get hurt again. So I really wanted to focus this message tonight on how to do just that, how to save your marriage and how to keep your heart safe so that you can both heal and you can both move forward. Does that sound good? Awesome. Cool. All right, Australia, Pennsylvania. Yep. Cool. Oh no, it keeps breaking up. I hope you guys can all hear me okay. Sometimes the connection out here in Colorado isn't great in my spot. I'm a little in the country, so. Okay, well, we'll just keep plowing through and hopefully it works out okay. So tonight we're going to talk about 3 rarely talked about steps to save your marriage without getting your heart hurt. And I'd like you to be kind of intentional here for a minute and know that we can do these things even if your spouse is currently checked out of your marriage, even if they're having an affair, or even if they're wanting out of the marriage. If you've been following us for a while, in our podcast, in the master classes that we do, you know that we help people who others say they should give up, like a long time ago. Their friends say, you should just move on, you deserve better, all this stuff. Even a counselor might say, there's nothing that I can do here. Like, this isn't going to work. And you might even be wondering at yourself, like, can I really do this? Is this really possible? I don't know if it's possible. And so that's what I'm here to share with you tonight, is that even if these things are going on, we can help you with the right method. And if you haven't had the right method up to now, that's probably why things haven't been working out. And so we want to overcome that now. And by the end of this masterclass, I want you to know the 3, they're rarely talked about steps that you need to take right now to get your spouse back, to save your marriage, to open up that communication, and to do it in a way that works and protects your heart as well. So who wants that? Who's excited for that? Awesome. Let's do this. Now, I would just like to start by creating a space to get intentional. Me, I love it. Awesome, Carrie. Where do you want your marriage to be 3 months from now? If you could just take a 30,000 foot view, in fact, even just take some deep breaths. There's a lot of stress going on, not only with coronavirus, but with, the challenges going on in our relationships. And oftentimes we are in such a state of tension and fear that it's hard to listen to that inner still part of ourselves that I believe, getting a little spiritual here, but just go with me. It doesn't matter what religion or whatever you are, but I believe there's a part that's deep within us that knows truth. It knows truth when it hears it. But we have to kind of quiet our mind and our thoughts and our fear and our emotion that can become so strong so that we can actually feel it, so that we can actually hear what it's trying to tell us. So if you need to, take a couple really deep breaths, clear your mind. If you've been sitting for a little while, maybe it helps to stand up and stretch and move around a little bit, get the blood flowing, and bring some intention to this place right here. All right, Jesse says, back to a loving, caring relationship where we miss each other and want to talk to one another about anything and everything like we used to before. Yeah, beautiful. Raymond says, I would like my wife to come home. Awesome. Aaron says, still married. Good. All right. And so, oh, you want to be still married. Okay. Now I think I understand. Better connection, Ken says. Awesome. And Aaron says this. Awesome. I love it. And so, where do you want to be in 3 months from now? Where do you want to be a year from now? What would that feel like to know that you're there? And so let's bring that intention of where you want to go to this masterclass tonight. I really believe that a lot of us are kind of like ships out on the sea, and we just get tossed about by the waves and we don't have a lot of direction. But when we can clearly define where we want to go and steer ourselves that, we might get knocked off course time and time again. But as long as we know where we want to go, we can get ourselves back on that course. Awesome. Strong and a lot of communication. Love for my wife to be back home. Awesome. End her affair for good. Cool. I love all these comments coming in. Cool. I have faith in Heather and Mark. Things will get better for us all. Yeah. Thank you. So bring that intention. This is about you, and this is about where you want to go. And again, I just honor you for coming, and I honor you for wanting to work on your relationship and having the courage to do that and having the tenacity to say, I want this and I'm not going to give up. One of the most tragic things that I see working with so many people and having such a large Facebook group and being, honestly, like we're the fastest growing online marriage resource. And so we get to see a lot. And one of the most tragic things to me isn't when a marriage ends, although that is to me sad because I believe that marriage is sacred. But what's more tragic is those that live with regret and they say, I didn't do what I should have done. I didn't become who I was meant to be. I didn't give it enough effort. I didn't try hard enough. I didn't heal myself. Instead, I just ran with my fear and ran with these different emotions. I ran with my anger. I ran with my bitterness, or I just ran with apathy, or I ran with fear and I didn't know what to do. So I didn't do anything. And you have regret going forward. There's a huge difference between the people that have a marriage end and do it with peace and with understanding and with grace and with healing versus those that do it with regret and bitterness and pain. And so ultimately, yes, we want to help heal your marriage. There's things that we cannot control, like our spouse and the outcome, but we can control what we do about it. So bring that intention tonight that you're going to do what you need to do. And you're going to make the decision that I will do it no matter what, because I don't want to live my life with any regrets. That is the best gift that you can give yourself. And it will have a ripple effect to not only you and your life, but to your children and your friends and your spouse and your family and your future. So that is what we want to do tonight. Okay. Bottom line, that's what we're going to do in our lives. Awesome. All right. Now, for those that stay to the end, and I'm actually going to record who stays to the end, I'm going to take a screenshot. So if you have to go, it's okay. But really, only if you stay to the end. I'm going to give you our 7 proven conversation starters guide. This is something that we have given to our subscribers for our podcast before, but before that, only to our paid clients. And so this is a guide that helps you open up communication with your spouse, gives you not like scripts, but shows you kind of the methodology behind how to open a conversation with someone that's really closed off, that's really hesitant to have conversations with us. Okay. And the 60-second plan to get my spouse back guides. So if you want those, stay to the end. Sound good? All right. I hope you're like virtually nodding your head with me. All right. Awesome. Now, who am I? I know some of you know Mark and I, you know High Thrive. You've been with us for a while. You're part of our tribe, and we've been doing this for years. And some of you are brand new. Maybe you just found us on Facebook, even as soon as like this afternoon. So just a little bit of introduction about who I am. My name is Heather Choate. I am the co-owner with Mark Johnston of High Thrive Coaching. Like I said, we've helped save thousands of marriages around the world. We have people joining here tonight from, yes, they will be emailed to you. Sorry, I just saw your comment. Yeah, I'm going to email them to you. I have everyone's email that registered. So yes. Okay. So yeah, we've helped, people from Australia, New Zealand, the UK, Canada, and America, and we're actually about to launch High Thrive Spain later this year. We got a little delayed with COVID, but that's going to be super cool. And we have what is a radically different approach to marriage, an approach to healing marriage, and a radically different approach in general about what marriage even means, which I think is in huge contrast to our culture, where divorce is so commonplace. In fact, it's almost even expected many times when people enter into a relationship. So we believe that marriage is sacred, and we have a radically different approach to how those foundations should be built. Okay. Not sure what's going on with my slide there. There we go. All right. So this is me. This is, 2014. So just about 6 years now. I was diagnosed with breast cancer while I was pregnant at the age of 29. And going through that, I was pregnant with our sixth baby, and doctors told me I needed to abort the child to save my own life. And again, I just tapped into that inner deepest part of myself that spoke truth. And for me, personally, my own journey was that I did not. I would rather die. I told the doctors I would rather die than take the life of my child. And I knew I needed to protect that innocent life. And so for me, that was the journey that was right. And for others, that might not be their journey, and that's okay. I honor everyone's journey, and it's all going to be different for each of us. But going through that, it just gave me a perspective on life and on marriage. No one expects to be 29 and thinking that they might not live through the year, right? And so my husband and I, we had to rely, like it says here, upon a bedrock foundation of trust, of supporting one another, of roles switching. Like suddenly he was home taking care of the kids for me because I was too sick, right? Tenacity to keep going, and persistence to survive and protect the life of our baby while keeping our marriage intact. And this is what drove me, once I was well enough to create this business and to help others in turn, was because I saw numerous couples going through a similar situation, whether they were fighting cancer or something similar. But instead of drawing closer together, like I felt like Ben and I were able to do, and actually like fix the root issues that were going on inside myself and inside our relationship so that we could heal and become better through the challenges, rather than being a victim to them, we became stronger through them. We did. And it was really sad to see that not all couples did it that way. In fact, we saw a dear friend whose wife left him and had an affair and divorced him while he went through cancer. And a year later, he died. I know that's like really heavy and really sad, but that was the reality that I suddenly saw. And that perspective drove me to understand what really made marriage work, and why Ben and I were choosing a different path, and how could I help other people in the face of their challenges to choose a path that better serves them and the one that they really want. So then I came together and created this company with Mark Johnston, and that's where we've been. So I just want you to know, like, I get it. I've been there. I've felt like I was on the very last fringe of my marriage hanging on. I understand the struggles couples face. And, we build that foundation of unconditional love first for yourself and then for your spouse. And really attacking, I don't know if attacking is the right word. That's kind of aggressive, but I think it is. It has to be aggressive. Attacking the inner beliefs that we have that cause us to have cycles of pain over and over and over again. And that's what I do on the mindset work. And I really believe that that's where you have to create that level of change. There's a lot of other programs and things out there, and you may have heard this from other, gurus or books or counselors or whatever. And I think it's all well-meaning, but they're really focusing a lot on the symptoms of the problem, and they're not going to the root cause of the problem. Like an example would be an affair, that is a symptom, but so many people think that that's the entire problem. And a counselor might say, well, if you just stop the affair, then everything will be fine in the marriage. And sometimes they can even get the affair to end, but then another problem will come up and take its place. Until you address what's going on the deepest level, then issues are going to continue to come up time and time again. So here at High Thrive, we really focus on true healing and true inner peace and true inner happiness and a thriving life, not just to survive these things, but to truly thrive. So I hope that that resonates with you. If it does, then you're in the right place. And if it doesn't, that's okay. You have another path in your journey. So I just want you to know, like, I've been there. I've had those moments of just absolute sobbing tears, just ugly moments of just despair, thinking I'm never going to be able to get through this. This marriage is not going to work. I can't do this anymore. In fact, I'll just share with you, I'm just going to go a little deep here and a little raw, but a moment in this battle of fighting cancer, we lost our business. We lost our home. We had to sell our home. We lived in Southern Colorado on beautiful 20 acres. And we ended up having to move then it was 6 children because our baby was born. So that was a happy result there. Our baby was born healthy and well. And then the summer after she was born, then we moved up to my husband's parents' land here near Colorado Springs, and they have 40 acres, and we lived in a camper trailer on their 40 acres. Now, some of you know I grew up in Naperville, like white lily suburb girl, so here I am living in a camper trailer with our 6 kids, and I'm just like, I don't feel like I could do this, right? This is crazy. And then what happened was my husband started to reach out to his family for support. And that looked like he'd come home from work and go and hang out with his family for a couple hours before like checking in with me or talking. And I didn't know how to handle this. I felt like he was completely abandoning me. And like I was too much for him to handle. And like this whole cancer stuff was too much to handle. And I just didn't feel supported at all. I felt completely abandoned. And I remember one night I was in the camper and I was cooking spaghetti. I just had tears streaming down my face and falling into the spaghetti that I was making. The baby's in the high chair next to me. The little ones are all around, running around amok in the camper and all about the land. And I just felt completely alone. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. If I don't have Ben's support, if I don't have his love and his willingness to make this work, I have nothing left. I felt like I had nothing left. And I told him, I'm done. I'm leaving, and I don't want to do this anymore. And I got in our truck that we had at the time, and I left him standing there in the camper. He was crying. He was begging me not to go. The kids are crying, begging me not to go. And I left. And I decided, I'm going to just go into the Springs. I'll just get a hotel. I just got to think and get away from this for a little bit. I can't even see straight. I can't think straight. And the emotion was so incredibly strong. And I was crying so hard that I only made it not even a mile. And before I had to pull over and because I was just crying so much, I couldn't even see. So it wasn't safe. And I stopped in a sunflower meadow there in Southern Colorado. We get incredible, beautiful sunflower fields. And the sun was shining behind Pikes Peak Mountain, and it was hitting those beautiful sunflowers. And I was just like, I hated them. They were so bright and cheery and something I would normally appreciate. And in that moment, I just couldn't stand it because it was such a contrast to the darkness that I felt inside myself. And in that moment, I realized, if I leave, and I can, and I could go and Ben and I could get a divorce and I could go and marry someone else. But there was a quiet part of me that I listened to at that moment. And it said, if I don't change the things that are going on inside myself, they're going to stay with me no matter what. And if I don't fix the way that I feel inside, that I don't feel like I'm good enough. I don't feel like I'm worthy of love. I don't feel like just that feeling of I'm not good enough. And if I'm not good enough, then eventually Ben's going to leave me. And that feeling that I'm not good enough, I knew if I didn't fix that it was going to go with me into another relationship. If I had another relationship, and it would go with me wherever I went. So I realized that there were deeper things inside myself that I needed to fix first before I could make a decision about my marriage. And so that's what then I set out to do, was to heal those things. And it took a lot of years and a lot of bumps along the road. And what I'm going to share with you now is what I wish I had back then. I wish I had these tools and these resources, because it would have made things so much easier and so much better. And so that's why I'm bringing them to you, because in those moments, I know what it's like to feel like I'm just grasping at anything. I have no idea. Like, I need a life preserver, but I don't feel like anyone's throwing one to me. Well, I want to be that life preserver for you. I want to throw something to you that I found that has served me. And if it can serve you too, then that's awesome. That's why we're here. All right. So that's a little bit about who I am. And let me go back here. All right. So coming together with Mark, we created a method that I feel is radically different from other means of help out there. It's simple, because I think you should keep it simple, sexy, right? KISS, keep it simple, sexy. Not stupid, we're not stupid, but it is radically different. And it helps you experience not only just like immediate relief in your relationship, because you finally clear some of those limiting beliefs, like I'm not good enough, I can't trust people, I'm not capable, right? And once you remove those truly on like the deepest level, the subconscious level, the spiritual, like everything, like I could go into psychology and explain it all, but I'm not going to tonight. But when you truly reprogram your subconscious and reprogram those beliefs, you feel and experience immediate relief, and you start to experience different results in your life. If you've been experiencing the same results again and again and again, then you need to start doing some different things, right? So you can start to experience some different results. And this can be done without having to waste years in therapy. I was just talking to a client who has now saved her marriage 4 years later. She sent me a picture of her and her kids during quarantine. And she was just thanking me again. But they had spent 20 years in therapy, 20 years in therapy, and they weren't able to make any progress. And they were on the verge of divorce when they first joined. And now they're just thriving, and they turned it around in a relatively short amount of time compared to years of therapy, right? So what we want to do is we want to teach you, we call it secrets, whatever, but it's not really secrets. They're just simple, true principles of effective communication, so you can handle your most difficult relationship challenges. And the entire intention here is that you go from places of bitterness, from places of pain and despair, to finding stability, intimacy, affection as you fall in love again. And I saw in the comments, you want to fall in love again, you know? You want to feel like you did when you were first in love. You want to have your husband or your wife back home with you. Yeah, thank you, Kim. She just says, I want to say thank you, both Heather and Mark. Your program saved my marriage. I'm still working on me every day. Awesome. That's great. All right. So what results can I expect using your method? First of all, I want to make it perfectly clear. You're not going to save your marriage by the end of this masterclass. If you're thinking that, then you have the wrong expectation. I don't think any of you are really thinking that, but I just want to make sure that you understand you're not going to just save it by the end of this masterclass. In fact, you're not even going to save it by taking a few of these things here, because it's just going to be the tip of the iceberg, honestly, when it comes to it. What it's going to take, though, is that it's going to take time to save your marriage. It's usually much quicker than you think. When you get right to the root issue and you solve it from that level, then you're not just wasting time dealing with symptom after symptom after symptom, right? We open up communication, we increase understanding. I'll go into that a little bit later. What you will have is a clear step-by-step action to take to open up communication, rebuild your connection with your spouse. And Kim says it took about 5 months, which is fabulous. Most people do not do that quickly. And again, it's going to be circumstance by circumstance, but if you do it in the right way, you're going to see progress much quicker. When I started out, I had no clue what to do. I was overwhelmed, and I was truly terrified I was going to lose my husband, truly terrified that I was going to lose my marriage, and I was going to disappoint my children. I was going to disappoint myself, and just have to pick up the pieces of a broken life and a broken marriage. And everything that I tried for a long time, it just didn't work. It didn't work. And I felt hopeless. I felt like, man, I keep trying and nothing's changing. I read books. I watched YouTube videos. We didn't have obviously a lot of resources at the time. So I did everything I could try to do. And it felt like there was conflicting advice from one person that contradicted what this person said. And then this love language says do this, but that wasn't enough because I couldn't get them to communicate with me. And so everything like that. I don't know if you can relate to that. You said, yeah, I'm terrified right now. I'm scared to death, here in the comments. And so I understand what that's like. And if you're out of time, well, Erin, we're going to talk about that in a little bit, because there are two distinguishing factors that I'll let you know if your marriage can be saved, if it's still possible. So that will help give you clarity if you're out of time, because you may not be out of time. You may just think you are, or you may be. And so I'll clarify that a little bit later. So imagine how you will feel when you have these 3 steps, when you have clarity on what to do and you replace overwhelm and that kind of feeling, I'm terrified, I'm scared to death. Like, instead of that absolute fear and terror, you're replacing that with peace of mind and confidence and action. And as you take small actions step by step, that builds positive momentum in your life. And that feels amazing. Imagine how you feel when you have all 12 steps that we teach in our coaching program. No, this isn't like an Alcoholics, I can't talk, Alcohol Anonymous 12-step program, but we have multiple steps that build upon each other, and we solve problems in order, which is so important. And imagine how it will feel when you have your spouse back in love with you, when you can feel like Ben and I do now, where it's not perfect, but we love each other. And I have witnessed what unconditional love feels like from him, which helped heal all of those things inside of myself. All right. So to save your marriage without getting your heart hurt, there are 3 false beliefs that we must smash right now. And we'll just go through these real quick. If my spouse wants out, there's nothing I can do. Have you ever felt that? I felt that. I felt like he's so closed off. I can't get him to open up. He's checked out. There's nothing I can do, right? And we hear that all the time. It takes 2 to tango, right? On and on. Oh, awesome, Kim. She says, mindset training was and is fantastic. It saved me. Yeah. So if my spouse wants out, there's nothing I can do. And we hear that from our friends. We get that message from our culture. But the bottom line is, you can save your marriage on your own by going first. So let's smash that belief right now. And it's not hard. It's easy. It's not hard. It's easy. It's simple and it's effective. It is hard work and it works though. And so it takes all of that strain and stress and anxiety out of it. All right. Second false belief: it takes years of therapy to save a marriage. And so smash that right away. I've already said, you can do it in a short amount of time with the right method. Instead of wasting years of therapy or trying to do it yourself for years, you can do it in a short amount of time. And the other false belief is, I can do it on my own. I'm a do-it-yourselfer. Oftentimes I'm very independent and I feel like, I can figure it out. And so the bottom line is, you need help. And so we're going to go deeper into each one of these. Sound good? All right, awesome. So false belief number 1, here's what we used to think. This is the old way, right? If my spouse wants out, if they're having an affair, if they don't want to work on it with me, there's nothing I can do, or it's too hard and I'll get hurt. So it's easier to leave. And honestly, this is a very understandable, thought process. Like, it's just too hard. There's nothing I can do. And so it's easier to leave. And so we opt for that option. But remember what I said about living with regret, because there's some part of us that says, there are things I could do. I could examine this. I could get the right help. I could find what other people have done to save their marriage, and I could do what they're doing. And maybe I could get the same results they're getting, right? And so we have to replace that belief. If we want to hold on to that belief that there's nothing I can do, well, then guess what? Self-fulfilling prophecy, there's nothing you can do, and it's not going to work. So if you hold on to that, then there is no chance that you're going to be able to save your relationship, especially if your partner is the one that's saying, I want out, I want a divorce, I'm in love with someone else, or I love you, but I'm not in love with you. All those things that we hear, right? If they're the one saying that, then they're not going to be the one that's going to turn things around, right? Because they're already heading out the door, or at least have one foot out the door, or whatever it might be in your situation. So you have to be the one willing to go first. So wrong. We'll smash that belief. So what we want to do now. Cool. We use what we call the push versus pull method. Again, if you're first joining us, you probably haven't heard this before, but if you've been with us for a while, this is a foundational piece. The push versus pull method to save our marriage, even if our spouse isn't on board right now. So what is this method? How do we do that? All right, push versus pull method. First of all, we stop demanding that they work on the marriage. When we demand that they work on the marriage and they're already checked out, they're already wanting out, it's only going to push them further away. So I guess push is the right word, because it's not going to push them to do anything you want them to do. It's going to push them further away, right? Does that make sense? So anytime you're saying, well, you should do this, you promised, you covenanted, you made your vows that you would do this, and you're not fulfilling your part, they don't want to hear it. And it may be true. And in fact, I'd say it is true that they're breaking their vows and they should work on it. I agree with you there. But the more you press them to do it, the more it's just going to push them away. So it's not effective. We also want to stop manipulating, stop pleading, or acting out of desperation. Working with so many clients and knowing what this fear mode is, this like panic that we get into, I understand where it comes from, and it puts us into our limbic system of our brain, which is our animalistic instinctual state, which is the fear, the fight, flight. Okay, I can do it. Fight, flight, or freeze. There we go. And so we either want to fight, like we're manipulating, right? We're bringing anger and hostility, or we want to just work so hard in like a positive way, but it's still fighting too much. Or flee, like we just want to get out of there ourselves and make ourselves safe. Or we freeze, so we don't know what to do, so we don't do anything, and we just kind of clam up, right? So any of those states are not going to be effective in getting our spouse to want to work with us. Make sense? Cool. When we stop freezing, like I just said, and which means doing nothing out of fear. Sometimes I hear this, like, I just don't know what to do, so I'm not going to do anything. Erin says, what if they won't talk to us? Yep, we're going to get into that. Exactly. Survival mode. Yeah, we want to move out of that into effective decisions. And so one of the first things that we need to do is learn how to effectively process our emotions. Every emotion is good to me. And sometimes we hear that some emotions are bad and we try to suppress them. Like, I shouldn't be angry. I shouldn't be sad. I shouldn't be depressed. I shouldn't be anxious. No, you actually should, because it's your brain signaling something really important to you and you need to pay attention to it. You need to give it space. But staying stuck in really negative emotion never serves us well. So we need to learn how to move through our emotions, become really intentional about our emotions, let them speak to us almost, if that makes sense. That might sound a little woo or something, but like find out, why am I actually feeling this way? What is it trying to teach me? What is it trying to show me? And then when you realize what that lesson is there, then you can take action on that and move through it. So it's really normal to act out of desperation, act out of fear, but it doesn't serve us well. So we need to have some processing there on how to handle those emotions, handle those hurtful things our spouse might say or do, how to handle the really heated argument, right? Or the attack that they throw at us, or whatever it might be, so that then we can be effective in our decisions and steer us back on course to that destination that we want to go. All right, so the push versus pull method, we take the pressure off. First thing, if you take anything away from this tonight, take the pressure off. Take the pressure off your spouse, take the pressure off you, honestly, take the pressure off forcing it to work. Because the more you force, there's a saying that force negates, and what we resist persists, okay? The more we're in that desperation clench mode, it reminds me of my daughter. She was just in here tonight with a red fire ant in my bedroom. And she squeezed the life out of it because she thought it was so cute. She just couldn't handle it. So she squeezed it to death. Poor little ant. And so sometimes we're like that. Like, we want something so hard that we hold on so tight that we like literally squeeze the life out of it. And if your spouse feels that tension from you, if they feel so much pressure from you, if they feel like you're demanding that they work on the marriage, or that you're trying to manipulate them into doing things, like you say, I'm going to take the kids, or I'm going to go cheat on you, or whatever it might be, right? Any kind of those things, they're going to feel that pressure. And when we feel that pressure, it is scary to us. And so we want to back off, right? If someone comes at you with a lot of fear, what do you want to do? Like, instinctually, we take a step back. We want to get away from that person because it's not safe. And so you may have really good intentions, and you may be even trying to do really positive things like buy flowers and text all the time and show you I care about you, I love you, and we do like even really positive, great things that you think are going to help bring them back to you, but it still feels like pressure to them. And so they're going to keep wanting to get more and more space. Okay. And again, I love this, Kim. Thank you for your perspective here. She says, I was doing that before I found you guys. And that's why this is such a huge aha moment. I hope that some of you have a huge aha moment if you really get this, that there's a shift that has to happen. And it's not just in the words that you say or in the actions that you take, but it's inside you. You have to get to a place of like, pressure's off. Now let's actually understand each other. Now let's actually work on this together as a team, or I just need to get clarity on where I want to go. I'm going to take the pressure off of you and take the pressure off of me and take the pressure off this situation. Because then when you do that, then the things that you want actually have room to grow. They actually have space to breathe, and your spouse will have space to be able to come back to you rather than feeling like they constantly have to get away from you. Hope that makes sense. All right, awesome. So we also want to start increasing understanding. We're going to go into the path method in a little bit here, but we definitely want to be increasing understanding towards our partner. As we increase understanding and we take the pressure off, they sense that we just genuinely care about them. It's more like, I just want to understand you, not because I'm trying to make this work, but because I want to, I know you, sorry, I love you, I care about you, and I just want to understand you better. I want to become a better person myself. And so I'd like to understand where you're coming from, that kind of thing. It's a completely different energy. And honestly, it takes a little bit of guidance and practice to get that right, to kind of stop the cycles that you've been in and to start taking the pressure off and increasing understanding and start doing what actually works with calm confidence. So you mentioned earlier here that you guys, you're terrified and in a lot of fear and a lot of pain. So contrast that to what would it be like to face the same situation that you are right now, because it's not going to change by the end of this masterclass. It's not going to change in a week, probably, right? It's not going to change overnight. But the way that you approach it, you could be doing it with a lot of calm confidence, knowing that what you're doing can actually work. So as we do that, it draws our spouse naturally to us. That's why we call it the pull method. It's like a magnet. Our spouse feels safe with us again. They feel comfortable. They're able to start opening up. All right, false belief number 2. It takes years of therapy to save a marriage. I really want to smash this belief. Bottom line is we can do it in a short amount of time with the right method. So let me ask you, would you rather take the long, hard road that rarely works or a proven path that can get you results quickly? Now, I know you're here because you want the results, right? And you want them quickly. We all want that. We're human beings and we want it now. All right, awesome. Favorite says proven path. Sweet. Let's do it. Up until the past 5 or 6 years, there was one primary way to get marriage help if you were struggling. And that was to go to insert blank. Insert blank. That was to go to, I know someone's going to do it in the chat. I'm just going to wait for it. If you want to save your marriage, if your marriage is struggling, go to therapy. Thank you, Nikki. Yeah, therapy. Justin, Russ, awesome. Sylvia, therapy, LOL. Justin, awesome. Yep, therapy. And I'm not going to say, or counseling, therapy, right? And most people think that's what you do, and that is the primary resource out there. And there are a lot of really well-meaning people that do a great job, and sometimes that is a great solution. The problem is that many couples are spending years in counseling or trying to kind of do it yourself, and their marriage is still ending in divorce. If you actually look at the statistics, if you look at the facts, it isn't very effective generally. There are exceptions out there, but unfortunately, a lot of people that are in a situation like my spouse wants a divorce yesterday. My spouse has filed a divorce. We already have papers going, right? My spouse has been having an affair. I just found out about it. Or my spouse has been having affairs for years, right? My spouse is completely checked out. They won't go to counseling. They don't want to work on this thing. So what do I do? And then most people think, well, there's nothing I can do, because if they won't go to counseling with me, then there's no solution, right? And so that is where we just want to completely, I'm making up words, completely, we want to obliterate, obliterate that myth right there. Erin says, yeah, she filed already. Exactly. And so many times counseling encouraged our divorce. Yeah. And so what do? You're like, oh my goodness. And so sometimes you just talk about the same problems over and over again. Sometimes you go into like childhood wounds, or it's just like a hash it out kind of session, but you don't really leave with action steps. You don't really leave with a solution. Not always, but oftentimes. They don't have the proven method that we have, just bottom line. And it heals your marriage the fastest. We've helped so many people now. I can say that with absolute confidence that this is going to be, majority of the time, much more effective than what you could find in traditional counseling or therapy. So how do we do it? Let's talk about our method. We've had Kim on here awesome talking about, how things have changed so much for her, but let's talk about this PATH method. Some of you have never heard about this. And this is what I call, it's the right way to save your marriage quickly and keep your heart safe, to truly feel like you have that calm confidence going forward. So working with thousands of couples, we found that there are certain commonalities that draw couples together, and there are certain things that push them apart. I think this is insane because honestly, literally no one else is talking about it. No one. And we almost missed it ourselves. In fact, I feel like we kind of stumbled upon it by accident. Most people have no idea why their spouse is leaving. We hear it time and time again, or they think like, my spouse says that they love me, but they're not in love with me. But what does that really mean, right? Is that really the reason why they're leaving? If you've ever heard Bark say, divorce is not a goal. Like no one wakes up in the morning and is like, I have a goal to get divorced. No, like that's the means to something else that they want. They're thinking that they could be happier with the marriage ending, or with someone else, or in a different circumstance, but they don't know why their spouse feels that way. 98% of the time, their spouse has built up a narrative justifying the reasons and going. They have a story in their head, okay? Whether it's true or not, this is their belief. Their belief might sound something like this. Julie criticizes me. She doesn't appreciate me. She always complains. I've had enough. I don't want to deal with this anymore. I'm going to go and be happier by myself, right? That could be a story. The story might be, he just doesn't get me. I try to get him to open up. I feel like it's talking to a brick wall. And I feel like there's someone else out there that I could have better connection with. And in fact, maybe I found that with my coworker. And I feel like, he hears me, he appreciates me. I can talk with him openly. He respects me. And so, maybe I'm happier with my coworker, right? So there's a story going on inside of them. And what we need to do is uncover that story. Here's some more examples. My spouse won't change, or the change is only temporary. We hear this sometimes, like, if I come back, I'm just going to get hurt again. Or you're doing all these nice things now, like buying me flowers, or listening to me, or taking better care of the kids, or being more physical or sexual or anything like that. But if I come back, it's just going to go back to the way that it was. My husband and wife is only looking out for themselves. They're only doing this for themselves. There's nothing to be found in the marriage for me anymore. I can't be happy here. I don't get what I want. They don't listen to me. They don't understand me, right? And I can hear you asking, so Heather, how do I figure out what my spouse's narrative is? And Nikki says, you've heard many of these. Yeah. And heard that today. Exactly. She says she has nothing left to give, burnt out. Yes. Doesn't want to settle again. Okay. Tim. So those are the surface level reasons that are justifying them leaving. Okay, that's the story that they have built up. And what happens is when we focus only on that story, we don't uncover the real root of it. So I'm going to break it down in what we call the PATH method. It is an acronym. P stands for perception, A is adjustment, T is tell a new story, and H is hold out hope. So let's dive into these quickly together. Perception means you're going to gain perspective on the root issues and uncover the narrative. This happens by being calm, by listening, by asking questions and opening them up. I believe it was Erin said earlier, like, how do I get them to talk to me? Hey, Crystal, good to see you. Yeah, awesome. Yes, it is recorded, and I will send out the replay tomorrow after. I'll email it. Yeah, good to see you, Crystal. Awesome. So here is where Aaron was saying, like, how do we open up communication? And this is where we have to gain perspective through perception. We have our perception, they have their perception, and we both think that we're right. And ultimately, both are right, because you can't ever argue with how someone feels or what they think. Like, it's just the way that they see the world, right? So here, as we gain insight into how they're feeling, we take the pressure off. We ask opening type of questions, which, you stay to the end and you get the 7 conversation starters, right? So those are some great ways to be able to open up communication. And you truly have to make this internal shift from, I have to make this work, I have to get you back, I have to save my marriage, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to stop doing this, she has to, he has to, right? And you get rid of all the have tos and you just say, I'm going to allow it instead of force it. Then you're able to understand them in a way that takes the pressure off everyone, and they feel safer. And it's incredible shift that happens. And I love seeing this happen with our clients and our students when they make this shift, because then the communication really opens up. And 100% of the time, 100% of the time, when our clients follow this method, if they follow it, not everyone does, but if they follow it, they are able to open up communication, whereas they didn't have it before, which is awesome. Then that goes to adjustment, which is making positive changes so you and your partner both feel safe again in the relationship. So how many have heard of it? I've heard of this, like just work on you, right? Like just work on yourself, like focus on yourself. And we actually say that too, to a certain degree. But what we've also learned is that making positive changes alone is not enough, which can sound kind of frustrating. You're like, Heather, what are you talking about? I'm doing all this work. How is it not enough? Well, that's what we discovered, is that we were able to help open up communication with couples. We were able to help them make positive changes. And they're able to even recognize those changes. Like your spouse was able to say, yeah, I see that you're making positive changes, but I still want out. I still want a divorce. I'm not coming back. And we realized that the real root that no one else was talking about, and we didn't even discover until after working with so many couples for so many years, was that we had to change that story. We had to change our spouse's narrative that was justifying their reasons leaving. Otherwise, that story is so strong that they will believe it no matter what. So we have to encourage them to change that story. And that's why we have Tell a New Story, which is changing the narrative. And now as you change the narrative and they not only see the changes, but they actually believe them, and they actually can see the possibility of being happy with you again. And that is how hope is restored. Okay, so that's why we tell a new story. And then that brings us to hold out hope. You build up relationship with 4 foundations of trust: intimacy, communication, and commitment. Okay, so we make sure each of those areas is rock solid. We solve any issues at their roots so that the problems don't come back. And that is how you keep your heart safe as you work on your relationship together. All right, because as you solve those root issues, then you're able to progress from the cycles that you may have been in that are really negative and painful and scary and hard, into working together as a team to have each of these foundations in place. So with this method, we stop doing what doesn't work, right? If you're just doing what doesn't work over and over and over again, and I do that too, we're silly human beings sometimes. Like, why am I still doing what doesn't work? I know it doesn't work if I eat that ice cream every night and I'm trying to lose weight. So why am I still doing it, right? And so we stop doing what doesn't work and focus only on what does. It doesn't take years of therapy or tons of do-it-yourself work. You can heal your marriage quickly. And again, like I said, this is what I wish I had years ago, because it would have saved me so much time and so much effort if I would have had that then. All right, false belief number 3, I can do it on my own. So if you're feeling like, you know what, I'll just take this and I'll just run with it and I'll try to do it myself. We want to smash that belief, because bottom line is, guys, we all need help. If we knew how to solve our own problems, we wouldn't have problems, right? We wouldn't. Think about it. If you knew how to solve your problem, you wouldn't have that problem. All right, I have a funny story. My husband and I, we're rehabilitating a home. Basically, like, we're fixing and flipping it. Okay, first time. My husband's super handy, and he's got our boys who are 13, 12, and 10 involved, helping out with this project. And on, what was it, Saturday, they were, not we, I have a baby. She's 3 months old, so I'm not doing much. But I decided to go over, and they were fixing the fence, and they were replacing fencing and building the gate in the backyard. So I come over, and I'm like, oh, the baby's happy in her car seat. So Ben, what can I do to help? And he's like, here, take out that plank and then replace it. And so he gives me, he gives me a hammer and a crowbar. And I actually had to ask him the name of the crowbar because I didn't know what it was. Here I'm revealing my absolute ignorance when it comes to anything handy. So he hands it to me and then just walks off. And I look at it, I'm like, I'm pretty smart. Like, I can do this. And so I'm like trying to figure out like how to take out this piece of fence. And eventually after a couple of minutes, I was like, I'm not going to figure this out. Like, I feel so silly. So I went to my 13-year-old instead of my husband to try to save face. Right. And I'm like, okay, son, how do you do this? And so he showed me how to wedge the crowbar in and then use the hammer to hammer it in and then pull the fence post off. And then I got it from there. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because sometimes we can even have the right tools, but we don't know how to use them. We can have the right tools right in our own hands, and we have no feedback if we're doing it right. And so that's why it's really crucial that we get guidance from experts that specialize in exactly the challenges that you face. So first of all, what to do. Okay, pay attention to the cycle here. What to do. 2, when to do it, because timing is crucial. And the same advice at one point in your marriage may be completely irrelevant and wrong at another point in your marriage. So that's why we have to be really careful about what advice we listen to. We have to solve problems in order. 3, if you did it right, getting feedback. Okay, so here I tried to do it. Here's what to do. Here's when I did it. Now, did I do it right? 4, if you actually did it, accountability, right? Like some of us are like, I will do that. Like you might be nodding your head like, yes, Heather, I will increase understanding. And then they come home and then, it just goes into the same old argument as normal, right? So like if you actually did it, this is so important for us human beings because we will nod our head all day and then go on and do the exact same thing we've always done, right? Yeah. And so the 5th part is what the next steps are. So this is the loop here. Repeat that loop over and over again, and you have success. This is the very simple, basic formula that's fail-proof for success. What to do, when to do it, if you did it right, and if you didn't, go back to step 1. If you actually did it, maybe that should be step 1. And then what the next steps are. So I've mastered this piece. We've made this milestone. We've gotten this far. Our relationship has progressed to this level. Like now, he's willing to talk to me. Now, she actually shared with me why she wants a divorce. Now, we're at the place where they want to go on a date. Okay, what is the next step? So wherever you are, it's so crucial that you know what the next step is for your specific relationship because everyone's so different. Carrie says, I pray that we get there. Awesome. So let's take a step back and get intentional again. How good will it feel to replace overwhelm with direction, with confusion with clarity, fear and pain with hope and peace? I have been on this journey, and I can say it's worth everything that it takes to get there. That is what having a coach on your side with the right method gives you. Sounds good, right? Sounds good? All right. Let me ask you a question. How many of you feel like this right now? I'm guessing you've learned a lot. Like, I hope you've had some great aha moments. We've had some fun. I've completely butchered a few words and made up some new words. So I hope you had fun with me as we did that. But like I said, this is really just the tip of the iceberg. And it's hard to learn everything in just 60 minutes, right? So I have a question for you. Yes. Awesome. Me. Cool. Do you want to continue this conversation? Would you like to learn more about this and how it works and how you can actually use that? Everything that we've talked about. Would you like to keep this conversation going? Awesome. Yes. Russ says, Brandon, Joe, Carrie, Justin, Sylvia, Calvin, Aaron, Nikki, Fabron, Misty, Kyle. Okay. Awesome. Cool. Sunny. Awesome. So many coming in. All right. So if I had a way for you to continue to learn what you learned today, would you be interested? Would you want to know more about that? So I'm going to share with you that we put together a special package just for this presentation. And it goes deep into this PATH method, the perspective, adjustment, tell a new story, hold out hope, in our one-on-one coaching program. And it's a way for you to implement this over the next 12 weeks. So are you good if I share that with you? Angel says yes. Crystal, Justin, cool. Russ, Calvin, please, awesome. Aaron says I have 1 week. Ooh, we better talk. I don't know what's going on there, Aaron. Brandon, yes, awesome. Okay, cool. So yeah, let's go into it. Let me share how this works. Here's what we get with this special package that we've put together tonight. So it's 12 weeks of one-on-one coaching sessions. And this value alone is $5,564. How do I know that it's worth that? Because we've sold it for that and people have joined for that. Now, I don't want you to get sticker shock and check out right now because I want you to see the full picture here, okay? So that's what that looks like. What happens in one-on-one coaching sessions? These are one-on-one, private, confidential coaching sessions with a marriage expert to show you the exact next steps. Remember the cycle, right? Know what to do, know when to do it, if you did it right, if you actually did it, and what the next steps are. So that wherever you are, you have that clarity. You have the peace of mind and you have the courage to say, okay, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to do. This is what I need to do. And you have someone on your side that gets it and they can see the big picture of where you want to go. So you can put one puzzle piece down and then the next puzzle piece and then the next puzzle piece, step by step, and give you that accountability. Did you actually do it, right? Did you actually do it? Or did you just slip back to your old patterns? And so that accountability is crucial for achieving the things that we want to do, right? And clarity on what to do. Yeah, Aaron, let's talk. I can see you over there. All right, so here's Tommy. And these were given permission to share by these clients. So just rest assured that we have permission to share their name and their story. So Tommy says, win, I just had my first coaching call that my wife attended, which is a huge win, right? If your husband or spouse now gets to the point where they're like, I will attend with you. I'm willing to work on this with you. That is a huge win. We both got a chance to talk about past hurts, which is the first time in a long time we've done that. And so how good would that feel to have your spouse say, you know what, I am willing to attend with you. I'm willing to give this a try, or I just want to kind of see what you've been doing. I'm curious about that. That's a huge win. How good would that feel? Here's Scott, and some of you heard Scott's interview with us. He just did it over in the Thriving Marriage podcast, so you can listen to that. He did an awesome interview sharing his journey. He said, this is a consistent thought within me and pertains to the seeds this program has planted and the seeds I have planted in my relationship. So much has changed since the end of December. He joined December 2019. I would not have been able to withstand the current world crisis, meaning COVID, if I had not wanted something completely different than what I had only 3 months ago. My wife is an amazing individual, my soulmate, and I'm so fortunate to still have her. Our strengths have been tested over and over again throughout the years. The difference now is I don't feel like a victim. And he shares how she was completely done. They were headed towards divorce, and there, like, it just was nothing he was doing was working, and he struggled. You can listen to his podcast. I encourage you to do that. Anyway, but it just shows how far you can come in just a short amount of time. Even dealing with alcoholism, even dealing with addiction and anger, and just not understanding each other at all, to the place where they're working together. And she wants to work with him now on it, and it's awesome. Cool. I'm just checking in your comments. Awesome. Cool. All right. And then here's Kelly. She says, I just barely got started with this program. And last night, my husband, who has been involved with another woman for almost 2 years, I was unaware, but knew something was horribly wrong, asked me to renew our wedding vows as soon as this pandemic is under control. Says we can just have the pastor at the church we married in do it as soon as he's willing if I don't want to wait. I'm on cloud 9. And I've been, Kelly was just messaging me earlier today. So it's a huge, fabulous win. And can you imagine how that would feel like to have your husband, your wife put their wedding ring back on, to say, I want to renew my wedding vows with you, and for that to last. I was just talking with one of our past clients, Leah Deardor Smith, and she's now expecting her 3rd baby. When she came to us, her husband was having an affair and was going to leave her for another woman right before their birth of their first child. And we were not only able to help them end the affair, but address those root issues. And now she says, you know what, we're better and stronger than ever before. Even before I knew about the affair, even before the affair even happened, we are in such a good, strong, solid place. And so now, 2 children later, and they're just absolutely thriving. So imagine what that would be like. You might think it's impossible. Talking to Scott, he's like, I thought it was impossible. I thought there was nothing I could do. And now that was in December, and now here we are in May, and they're doing amazing. So isn't that exciting? Like, that would be amazing. Joe says, yeah, I want that, Kyle. Yeah, Calvin, I would love that. Absolutely. So again, this is a huge value. It's total value, $5,000, 12 weeks of coaching, one-on-one sessions, being able to work with a coach to get those next steps and to overcome those roadblocks. All right, now let's talk about weekly masterminds. These are like, you could call them like a group session. It's a little bit like this tonight, except more session like, not mastermind like. And so we get on Zoom, and you have a group session to learn from other people going through striving to restore their marriage. And they're very small groups, and you get extra support. We have these throughout the week so that you don't just have to wait to get on a session with your coach. Like, you don't just have to wait for your 1-hour session with your therapist to get your problem solved, right? You have the ability to come on, ask questions, work with a coach right then, and get support when you need it most. Cool, huh? Miriam, who just did an interview, oh my goodness, Tuesday morning with Mark, says, I'm just going to read the highlighted part. Feeling very thankful to be on this program, as I have made great improvements in my own life, which have helped in every aspect of my life, not just working on building my relationship back up. And that's what I love to see, because if it's just about the relationship, I don't think we've gone deep enough, honestly, because we really want to help you in every area of your life to truly thrive. And that's by going down and really figuring out who you are, that you are good enough, you are worthy, you are capable, you are deserving of love, you are intelligent, you are worth every happiness. And when you can feel that yourself in like that deepest core level part of you, then that is when life becomes just absolutely blissful. Not that the challenges go away, but that you meet them with strength and you become truly like a rock in a storm that just cannot be moved. That is what I want to see from everyone who comes into this program, because then I know that we got there. And it's more than just your relationship. It's about who you are and where you want to go. Crystal says, it's taken me a while, but I'm worth it. I'm strong because of this program. Yeah, awesome. Kim says, when you are happy, they see it and are drawn to it. It is true. It's like a magnet. And that light within you that you cultivate and you develop, and that strength within you, it stays with you no matter what happens. And the right people and the right circumstances are attracted to you, and they come to you. And I know that that's true because I've seen it happen over and over. So cool. All right. So we've got the weekly one-on-one coaching sessions, 5,000 value, weekly masterminds, 2,498 value, total value, $8,062. Let's keep going because it doesn't end there. Let's talk about our 27 video trainings. These are premium client only trainings. Now, I know some of you have just getting to know us for the first time tonight. Others have been with us for a while, and you may have joined one of our path courses or a relationship reboot course. But this is specific training for exactly the situation of saving a marriage from divorce, from an affair, and going deep into our path method. And this gives you confidence knowing exactly what you should be doing and what next steps you should be taking. They're powerful. Each video training has an action item exercise for you to do, because, as I said at the beginning of all this, it's not about information. It's not. Information's great, but it has no power unless we couple it with transformation. So we want to give you the tools, just like the crowbar, right? And the hammer, and then show you how to use them so that you can achieve what you want to achieve. So let me ask you, what do you think you need more of? Information or transformation? Information or transformation? Fabron, I get it. Hang on. Okay, just stay with me. First of all, you're worth it. And second of all, just hang on. All right, so the 27 video trainings, $347 value. With the weekly masterminds, $2,498 value. Weekly one-on-one coaching sessions, $5,560 value. Total value, $8,409. Pretty cool, right? So now you not only just get information, you get that transformation, you have actionable exercises to do that you actually turn into your coach, and they review them and they give you feedback. And the feedback is what we call field reports. So just like out in the field, right? You get a field report from your coach, which is direct feedback on your interactions with your spouse. We're literally in the trenches with you every day, and we show you what you did well, what to improve on, and what you need to do next. So imagine, hey, Tim, good to see you, transformation. Awesome, Brandon, yeah. And so this is like life-changing to me. If I had the ability to get on with a coach, a mentor, someone who'd gone before me and achieved what I wanted to achieve, and be like, oh my goodness, my husband and I, we just had the biggest argument. We just talked about something super sensitive. He got really upset with me. I said the wrong thing. I don't know what to do. And I send that in. And then I get feedback quickly on what to do next. How would that change things? It just takes the overwhelm, the confusion, the pain, the fear out of it. And it helps to break those cycles that we're in of negativity, of pain, of apathy, of anything like that, of procrastination, right? So that we actually are seeing things that we want to see happen. So super powerful. You guys like that? I love Tim's transformation. That's awesome. So the field reports, let's contrast that just for a minute with traditional 1 hour a week counseling session model, right? Here's your 1 hour a week to kind of hash out your problems or talk about your childhood, or to kind of like lay into each other for a little bit, right? And then you're done and we'll see you next week, right? So can you see how completely different this is? Contrast that. And which one do you prefer? Which is the better method? Which one do you think works better? You know, getting into the field, into the trenches with you, giving you feedback, having multiple masterminds throughout the week, getting the one-on-one coaching, or just 1 hour a week session, right? So here's what you're going to get again. So we got the one-on-one coaching, $5,000, weekly mastermind, $2,000, client-only video trainings, $347, and the field reports, $899, bringing the total value up to $9,308. It's pretty cool. All right. So I'm going to be really honest. I want to pull the curtain back here, because I get it. Sometimes like our stomach clenches when we hear about money and different things like that. And I understand that's an emotion. It's a habitual response, and it's just something that happens. So again, I encourage you just to step out of the fear, focus on what you really want, take some deep breaths, because you're worth it. And whether you do this or not, it's your choice. It's your path. And I honor you no matter what it is. But I want to be real about what Mark and I had going on here. Okay. Behind the curtain, Mark and I here at High Thrive Coaching, we had two choices. First option, we could go as cheap as possible and try to enroll as many people as possible into this new program. But what we were determined is if we did that, it wouldn't really incentivize us to really stack on the value. And we're super limited in how much we can actually help. Like there's only so many people that we can actually help. And so if we wanted to do it that way, it wouldn't be as effective. So the second option require a little bit higher investment. It's true. In exchange, we can devote more resources to ensure your success. And what we found, bottom line, is like, yeah, you can go cheap and there's some really inexpensive things out there, but bottom line is they just don't give great results. And that's not how we want to be serving people best. We want to be able to give people options and give them as much help as possible. But bottom line is that we want to give you as much help and resources as needed to help ensure that you succeed. So you want to hear about that? All right. Next comes the 3-day boot camp. So not only do we get, the masterminds, the one-on-one coaching, but we do a 3-day boot camp, which is an intensive small group, 7-hour meeting. It's like this, but it's spread over 3 consecutive days. And it's aimed at diving deep into obstacles and coming up with practical steps to take. And we do these exclusively with Mark Johnston. And he rarely takes on one-on-one clients anymore because he's so booked up. But this is the opportunity you have to work with him. He's our head marriage coach and the co-founder here, that you get to work directly with him on that in the boot camp. And the value for that is $997. Combine that with the field reports, $899, client-only video trainings, $347, weekly masterminds, $2,498, and our one-on-one coaching, $5,564. So the value of this is $10,305. This package, it is worth $10,305. Now, obviously, I'm not going to charge you $10,305, but I think it's worth it. And I'm not going to charge you that, but I need to ask you a question. I just want to know what you're thinking. If all this did if this entire 12-week coaching program, if all of it did was get you peace of mind so you could sleep at night, if it would help you open up communication with your husband or your wife so you can finally understand each other, if it did that, if all it did was help you, give you the ability to heal the pain you feel so your heart is happy, if all that it did was saved you $30,000 or more in divorce, attorney, real estate, child support, not to mention the therapy and the ongoing headache and heartache that divorce causes. That's the average divorce cost in America right now. It varies throughout the world. But if all of it did was do those things, or even one of those things, would it be worth it? Would it be worth it to you? Yeah. Awesome, Joe. I like your question. I'll answer that here in just a little bit. But if all it did was do that, would it be worth it to you? Fabian says yes. Carrie says yes. Justin says yes. Awesome. So now you have two choices. The first option is you don't have to do anything. Like you don't, it's okay. You do nothing and you do not take advantage of this opportunity. The second option is you make a small investment in your marriage today. So we want to take all the risk off of you and make sure that you understand that there's really no risk on you. And the reason why is we are so confident you will love this program and you'll get results. Even here on this mastermind, we've been honored to have some of our clients who've been sharing. I didn't even know, honestly, that you guys are going to come on. I've been delighted to see you. That you have gotten positive results and you've shifted from that state of pain and that state of fear and that state of overwhelm and like, oh my goodness, I just don't know what to do, to having strength and having clarity and being a rock in your own life, being a rock that can't be moved with the circumstances of life. And honestly, I feel like we need that now more than ever with things going on with coronavirus and other things that are to come. I mean, this world is pretty crazy and we can't control what happens to us, but we always control what we get. So we're so confident that we can help you get there and that we can get you to that deepest level. Remember, I said it's not even just about the marriage. It's about where you really are in your own life and who you really are and the results that you're going to get no matter what happens. So if for some reason you join and you're not seeing the results, if you're like, Heather, you said this and it's not working for me for whatever reason, then we will continue your coaching until you do. So that whole 12-week, we will just keep coaching you until you get results because we are so confident we can get you there. It just might take you more time. So that is why we are going to take all the risk off of you and put it on ourselves. So there's no end date, no additional charge if that's where you're at. Now, like most of our clients, you're going to start to see results quickly and it's going to be exciting and you're going to see a lot of momentum and know that this is working. But if not, if you're thinking, I'm still not sure, I'm still worried about that, then just take that fear right out of your mind because we are there to help you no matter what. Woohoo! Here's a picture. And just a little note here, as a counselor, a therapist, a lawyer, are they ever going to offer you that? No way, right? They're never going to offer you that. So we are taking all the risk off you and we're putting it on ourselves because we're not worried about it. We're not worried about it at all. Like, it's just awesome. We're so excited and we've helped so many people. It's just a beautiful, wonderful thing. And it just lights me up. It's so great. All right. So do you want in? Do you want to know more about this? All right. Kim says, I finally got to the point where I was okay, whether we worked out or not. And that was when my transformation started. Yes, Kim, exactly. You put that so well. Yeah. And Erin, you already enrolled in the program. Well then, yeah, let's get going. and definitely get that going there. Missy says yes. Kyle says yes. Cool. All right. So here's the bad news. Gotta give you the bad news before the good news. The bad news is we actually only can take 12 clients. It used to be 10, 12 clients this month. And so we limit the number of clients that we help each month. So we deliver the best results to them. So we're only going to be accepting 12 new clients this month. And I'm pretty sure there was like 60, 70 people on the webinar tonight. This replay will go out as well. So if you want to take advantage of this opportunity, then I want to let you know, move on it. And I really don't want you to have to live with regret. If any part of you is like saying, hey, I just want to learn more about it. I want to see what kind of payment plans you might have. I want to see how I might be able to afford this or work with you guys on this. I want to see, if this will work with my situation. My situation is XYZ. Will this still work? Then I want to be able to answer all those questions for you specifically. And that's why we offer a free consultation. And you can do that over here at highthrivecoaching.com/apply. And in that complimentary consultation, we'll go in deep with you in your specific situation. All right. Yes, Jesse, PM me and then I'll PM you, okay? Otherwise I might forget and I don't want to forget, but you can find me on Facebook and PM me. So book a complimentary consultation. I'm going to put this over in the chat real quick. So you can just grab that link, because it's not fun when you have to try to type it in yourself. There we go. All right, cool. So there's the link, highthrivecoaching.com/apply. Awesome. So in the complimentary consultation, we'll go over all of it with you. All right, now for the first 10 people that join, we're going to not only make it 12 weeks, we're going to make it 14 weeks for you. And we're not only going to give you 2 masterminds a week, we're going to give you 3 masterminds a week and priority support, meaning that every time we see your name come up, you're going to get priority support, and want you to know that we absolutely have your back. So that is something that we can extend to the first 10 people to make sure that we give you guys the very best value there. Everyone asks how much. All right. Yep, coming to it in just a second. Another option here is that there is PayPal credit. Some of you, you might want this and you might be saying, yeah, I want to know how much this is. I want to know if I can afford it. Maybe you're thinking, I just know I absolutely can't afford it. And so what we did is we set up a special deal with PayPal. They can finance this for you. Actually, it's not a special deal we set up, actually. It's just a deal that PayPal has. Sorry, I didn't explain that right. So this is something that PayPal offers. On anything over $500, you can qualify with their credit program. Now, you can use PayPal credit program to start right away. You have 6 months and no payments and no interest. How cool is that? But you do have to have credit. You do have to be able to have the ability to qualify for it. And I understand some of you may not have that. So that's, again, why I encourage you to get on a consultation. We do have different payment plans. We are making it flexible, especially during coronavirus. Like, we're here to help you. We want to be able to help you. If you're committed, you're coachable, you're invested, you're willing to do this, then we're willing to work with you and make it happen. So if you're on the fence, this is a great option. And I actually didn't know about it until recently. So I think it's pretty cool. So here's the bottom line. Again, you're going to get 12 weeks one-on-one coaching sessions, the $5,564 value, weekly masterminds, $2,000 value, video trainings, $347, field reports, $899, 3-day boot camp, $997, of a total value of $10,305. I'm going to be completely honest. We've sold this program for upwards of $16,000, and it is worth it. But today you can get started for just $5,200. And as I told you earlier, we also have payment plans. If you need to break that down into payments, then that's totally an option for you. I feel like I'm kind of losing my voice. So I'm going to leave this open here for the next few minutes. And so go ahead and put your questions into the chat. Sorry, I'm losing my voice here. I'm going to get a drink. All right, Fabron, I would still encourage you to book a call, because there may be other options that we have for you. We also have a group coaching program that may work better for you at this point of time. And we also have our courses, if that's still just, a better fit for you. But again, we want to give you the very best help, because working with us individually is going to be the most impactful for your marriage. And that's why we do this. Yeah, even if they filed for divorce, a lot of our clients have said that themselves. In fact, that's one of the questions I have here. Missy, if you're already in the program, then we can talk to you about how to extend it or whatever you have going on there. Russ says he just booked. Cool. So here's the question. What if my spouse already filed for divorce? Which Fabron said your wife did file for divorce. Cool. And Lori, yeah, let's definitely talk. All right. So, oh no. How do I go back? Okay. Well, I'm just going to answer the one. I don't know how to go back. I think I'll probably mess it up. And so if your spouse has already filed for divorce, this is, like I said, many of our clients are in the divorce process. They've already even had, papers signed, divorce papers filed. It does make the situation more difficult. It does, but it doesn't mean that it's the end. It does mean, that time is critical, and you need all the tools available to help you patch this delicate situation. If your spice. You see, I talk to toddlers all day usually. If your spouse has filed for divorce, there's still hope. And here's why I wanted to go into the two sure signs if your marriage can be saved, okay? There are 2 sure signs if your marriage can be saved or not. There are only 2 determining factors that we have found after working with thousands of couples, as I've said so many times tonight, it should be redundant, right? And those the two factors that mean your marriage can't be saved, or most likely can't be saved, because even then, there are still exceptions. The first one is if you have absolutely zero communication. Like if there's a restraining order in place, if you can't talk to them at all, if you can only communicate like via text or email, that's not going to be a sufficient amount of communication for this program to be able to make it work. So you have to have at least some level of communication. Even if like they're saying, I don't want to talk to you, they're closed off, that's okay. As long as you still communicate about something. It could be surface level things. It could be about the business. It could be about the divorce. It could be about selling your house. It could be about your kids, right? But if you communicate at all, then there's still hope for you, okay? So that's the first thing. If you have absolutely no communication, then I'm really sorry, but we can't help. And the second thing that is a determining factor if your marriage can be saved or not is if they are having a serious relationship with someone else, not just an affair. And even then, I mentioned Leah, her husband was going to leave her for another woman. They were going to plan another, a life together, a family together. And even then, there are still exceptions. So that's why it's really important that we talk with you on the consultation and find out what your specific situation is. Okay. So if they're having an affair and they're making serious plans with someone else, like they're going to have a baby together, they're going to buy a house together, right? Those would be really serious plans with someone else. Then it's most likely that your marriage can't be saved. If you don't fall into one of those two categories, then guess what? 95% of the time, your marriage can and should be saved. Now, why do I say should be saved? That can kind of, irk people sometimes. The reason why I say it should be saved is because if you don't solve those root issues within you now, just like I realized if I didn't solve those root issues within me, then they're going to continue to persist. So it actually isn't about the marriage being saved so much as it is about addressing those root issues going on within you. Because when you can truly heal and solve those things, then you can bring about the relationship that you want to have. And the results and the things that you're looking for will come to you. Okay. All right. Raymond, what if I don't know? I don't know what you don't know. Sorry, that doesn't make any sense. All right. Nikki says spouse moved out 8 months ago in the legal separation process. Yeah, so there's still time there. And I'm going to be honest. We've even helped couples that were divorced. Like the divorce was final. And we've helped a couple people like that. I'm going to say it's rare, but I just want to open your mind and your heart to the possibility. There's probably more hope than you could possibly realize. And so choose to take some kind of positive action, whether that's joining us today or it's doing something that we talked about tonight with the right method that's going to help move you in the direction of the results that you want. So just do something and don't give in to that fear and that, I don't know, it's like a devil on your shoulder a little bit, saying it's too late. You can't do anything. You can't change. It's too hard. It's easier just to give up. It's easier not to even think about it. And that will only lead you down an unhappy road. And that's not what I want for you. So know that if you're in a situation, even if it's a midlife crisis, like Mark says, yeah. And so if that's going on, then we can absolutely help. Okay, cool. I'm not, SD, I'm not sure. All I see is SD. You purchased reboot course, but never scheduled the consult. Yeah, exactly. So that's what the point of this is. And so that's how we can talk privately together. We have the consultation where you get to talk to the coaches and get those answers that you need for you specifically. And that's the best way, because I wish I could talk with all of you individually right now, but unfortunately I just can't do that. All right, cool. All right, here's another really common question. And I'm messing it up. But does my spouse need to take the program with me? Like, should they do the coaching with me? And I hope that you already know the answer to this question, but the answer is no. And we actually recommend that spouses go through the program on their own. Even if you want to do it together, if that's your situation, which most of our clients, it's not. Most of the time their spouse doesn't want to work on the marriage. But even if they did want to work on it together, we want both parties to take actually like full responsibility for their own part in the relationship and to do their own healing first uncovering kind of their own limiting beliefs, replacing those limiting beliefs. And there's just a lot of work that you need to do independently so that then you can come together stronger and better. Now, as you saw in the testimonials, of course, we do meet with couples at a certain point together when it's the right time and place for that. But we never want to push our spouse to work on it, right? We don't want to push our spouse to do this program with them because it's only going to push them further away. Like for many of our students, their spouse would be unwilling to do the course anyway. And asking them to do it is, again, it's just going to push them further away. Are your coaches all married? Russ asks. Yeah, I've been married 14 years, almost 15. Mark's been married a little bit longer than I have with his wife, Jennifer. And then we have several other coaches as well that are married. And yeah, so we believe marriage is sacred and we live what we preach. That's one thing that's really foundational to me. When I'm looking at making a change in my life, I always want to follow someone that has the results that I want. There is a very famous, oh my goodness, I'm sorry guys, there's a famous marriage expert out there, and I'm actually not going to throw him under the bus, but many of you probably heard his name, and he's been divorced 3 times. And that would not be a person that I would want to listen to. And so I would want to listen to people that have overcome things similar to me and have the kind of result that I want to have the marriage I want to have the health I want to have, right? Have the life I want to have. Otherwise, why listen to them, right? Because they obviously don't know it if they don't have it themselves. Cool. All right. Yeah, a divorce expert, not a marriage expert. Exactly. He actually does do a lot of coaching on what causes divorce, which is helpful in that aspect. Yeah. How is this different from other counseling? Again, we've kind of gone over this one, but traditional counseling usually meets once per week, 45 minutes, up to 90 minutes if you're lucky. And we realize that if things aren't going well in your marriage, it's going to require a lot more attention. It's going to require a lot more effort. And that's why we built out those different aspects that I put up here. I don't know if you can see my mouse. But we don't only have the one-on-one coaching sessions, we do the masterminds, we do the trainings with the exercises, we give you feedback on those exercises. You submit a field report if you just had, a major interaction or something happen in your marriage and you want to get help on that, right? And accountability and feedback to see if you did it right. And then we do a deep boot camp to make sure that everyone gets those really strong foundations with Mark Johnston, who is the creator of this entire method. So it's radically different than traditional counseling. We always are going to give you actionable steps. We're going to give you detailed plans, but they're simple. They're simple and they're effective, and you get them one at a time, right? There's that saying in scripture. It is scripture, but line upon line, precept upon precept. Like we just build it brick by brick. And it can seem really overwhelming when you're thinking about saving your entire marriage, right? Like climbing a Mount Everest. And so we just really break it down chunk by chunk. Cool. Awesome, Carrie. Thank you. Yeah. Go help your patient. We appreciate you. Cool. All right. Any other questions? If you posted them earlier, I'm going to try to scroll through the chat. Hearing a lot of people want to talk privately. That's cool. Yeah. Book the call for sure. Russ booked. That's awesome. No. All right. Awesome. If there are no other, okay. Yeah. So Erin, that's definitely something that we can hook you up with a coach about, because that's specific guidance that you need there. How do you change their mindset? So Todd asks that. For some reason, everything is my fault. Oh, 2 questions there. Okay. So changing their mindset. Again, we can never force change upon anyone else, and we can only control ourselves. But there are things that we can do to encourage them to open up by increasing understanding and helping them feel safe and helping them feel heard. When we feel understood, just take a minute to think about, like, if I feel like someone really understands me, how do we feel about that person? Do we feel safe? Do we feel like we want to share more with them? Yeah, we do, right? And so that right there, as we help them feel safe and help them feel heard, help them feel respected, helps to build trust. And as we, sorry, I'm shifting in my seat. As we increase that trust, that increases that connection, and it becomes a cycle there that can help to change their mindset. And as you increase understanding, you can start to learn, like Mark calls them, pathway thoughts. And we basically, I don't want to go too far into it, but it's basically coming up with, what is your goal? Like, what is your motivation? What do you really want here? And if they say, I want a divorce because I just want to find myself. Okay, well, what does find yourself mean? Like, that's such a nebulous thing to say, right? I just want to find myself. Okay, well, what do you feel like you need to find? And how would you feel when you felt like you found yourself? What would that look like for you? How would you feel? And you get their answers. Well, I would feel like I know what I'm passionate about, and I would feel like I have the ability to take care of myself, and I would feel like I know who I am again. Okay, so when you feel like you know who you are, how would that feel? And you just keep opening up that dialogue and that conversation, and you get to their goal of, like, they want to feel like they have time for themselves, they want to feel respected, they want to feel passionate again, they want to know who they are, right? And you find out that that's their goal. Okay, and then when you find out that that's their goal, then you are like, how can we work on that together? How can I support you in that? Is there a way that we could work on this as a team? And you start to build those connections, and that right there can help to start to change their mindset towards you, change their narrative about why they want to leave, because now they're recognizing, oh, this person, my husband, my wife, could actually be the means to my goal, that I want to feel XYZ, right? Insert the blank there. Yeah. Okay. I hope that answered your question. For some reason, everything is my fault. Okay. So that's a good one. Let's put that in here. What if my spouse twists everything I do into something negative? Everything is my fault. It's always on me. The answer is, it's going to be pretty normal, and it's going to be pretty expected. Like we said earlier, making positive change alone, it's just not enough. And right now, your spouse has a really, oh no, lost audio. Oh, I hope that wasn't on my fault. My part. Okay. Looks like we're good. Okay. All right. So if it's that they're twisting everything you do into something negative, it's always your fault, then they're really deep into their story. That's a symptom right there. That's indicating to me, and should be to you, that they are really in a state of justifying what they're doing. And they've built up a lot of reasons why. Why would they build up a lot of reasons? Well, it's probably because there's a lot of pain and there's a lot of fear there. There's fear about getting hurt, and they're in pain, and there may be even some guilt in what they're doing, and that they understand that what they're doing is really hurtful and it's really damaging, and they don't want to feel that guilt, so they're going to put it on you, and it's a way to deflect the pain off of themselves and put it on you. Does that make sense? So when you hear those kind of statements, and they say that everything is your fault, they twist everything you do into negative, like, yeah, sure, you stop drinking alcohol, but I know that once I come back to you, you're just going to start drinking again, right? They're just going to twist everything into something negative. Then it's critical that you start doing it the right way, which is, you need to change the story that they have justifying their reasons for leaving. And that's why we have the path method. That's why we help break down that narrative and change that there. Okay. Find myself story too. Yeah, that one is an interesting one to me, because I'm a woman, and it often comes from women, but not always. And yeah, it's kind of an interesting one. Okay. Crystal says, my self-care is going well, and I doing okay at processing through my emotions, fear and pain. Definitely makes sense. His guilt is deflected onto me. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly a huge one. And so what do we do with that? Well, that's why we go into helping to change their narrative and helping to increase understanding. And you can't just say, you feel really guilty, so you're putting it all on me, right? Because that wouldn't be an effective way of handling that. But that's exactly what we help you with. All right, cool. And then the last one is, do you have payment plans? So yes, we absolutely do. As I mentioned earlier, like you see the price tag here, $5,200 today. Again, value is totally worth it. In fact, I think it's 3x worth that, or infinitely worth that, because it's your marriage and it's your life and it's who you are. And the things that you learn in this life go with you, and the decisions that you make now, you carry forward. But yeah, we understand that everyone's financial situation is different, and you can create a payment plan with us. We can work together with you on that and see how we can help you best, because we're really here to help you in what serves you best. We don't want to do anything that would ever put you in any kind of harm, financially or otherwise, economically. I understand there's a lot of uncertainty, and people have been through a lot. So How do you know we'll get the $5,200 price? Because I say so. So that when you book your call, then your coach, when you talk to them, they're going to know that that's what it is because you have been on this webinar. So they'll know that. You can just say that you were on this webinar, and that Heather quoted you that price on the boss. So yeah, cool. Gotcha. Thank you. Yeah. Awesome. I'm going to see if I missed any other questions as I have a few minutes here. Okay. Mike, what if wife says she married me for wrong reasons? She says I'm a nice guy, solid, great dad, but says she went against her type. And that is why she doesn't have feelings for me now. Okay. Yep. Mike, Mark and I, we hear this quite often, actually. Again, why would she marry you in the first place? And I'm sure you've asked yourself that question and maybe even asked her, because there was something that drew her to you. And right there, that's indicative that she has a justification and she's built up a story that at one point, um, when she fell in love with you and everything, it was for the wrong reason, or it was because she was young and naive, or you were her wrong type and she probably shouldn't have done it. But the bottom line is that you were her type. Otherwise she wouldn't have done it. So we can't fight that with that argument though, because that's logical, and emotional justifications and reasoning can't be fought with logic, right? It only pushes her further away, but that's what it is, right? And so it's just, again, another indication that she has built up a story and a narrative that helps her feel safe in making this decision, or helps her make her feel better in it, makes her feel justified. It gives her that reason. And it also is probably, I'm just guessing, I don't know the whole story and I don't know her, but she's also probably trying to save you some pain and saying, it's not about you, it's about me, right? That kind of thing. And she's trying to lessen the pain on you, knowing that it's very painful still, but she's probably trying to lessen it by saying those kind of things. But you are her type. She wouldn't have married you otherwise. So what we need to do is address that story, change that story, and help her understand that she can be happy with you. And like I shared with many of our clients and their stories and their testimonials here, what's going on with them right now is that when you change that narrative, things can change very, very quickly. And she will see the possibility of being happy with you again, because she was at one point, and there's a reason why. We need to find out what that is and what that common ground is and build upon that.